In this video, we're going to discover a new way to calculate dy dx using implicit differentiation, but a method that can be scaled up to allow for more and more independent variables. We're also going to use the chain rule that can be customized and that involves partial derivatives. Once we see how this works with a specific example, we're going to try to generalize this process and then increase the number of variables that are used. So instead of using the Calc 1 method of implicit differentiation, we're going to consider this unit circle to be the trace curve in the z is equal to 0 plane, which is the xy plane, so in the floor of three-dimensional space, for some surface function that we're going to call capital F of xy. So if z is equal to cap f xy, then z is the surface, and when z is equal to 0, we end up with our circle in the xy plane. If we set this circle, this unit circle, equal to 0, and we get all the terms on one side of the equation, those terms can be considered that surface function whose trace curve in the floor is that unit circle. So let's take a look at this surface function in GeoGebra to get a visual for how that works. So here we are in GeoGebra, and I have selected the 3D graphing calculator. And we've put in this surface function, x squared plus y squared is equal to 1, and as well are slicing it with the z is equal to 1 plane. So you can see that that two-dimensional trace curve is the unit circle. We're essentially creating a surface and slicing it with a plane in order to consider that two-dimensional unit circle as an intersection curve. And it's an intersection curve between the surface and the z is equal to 0 plane. So back over here, let's notice that f is a function of x and y, and let's also say that y is an implicitly defined function of x. And we're going to introduce some interesting notation here, so bear with me, but we'll just say that y is some function of x. Now we're using this notation in order to be able to illustrate that y is a function of x without bringing in new variables. Now, let's also use some strange notation to again illustrate that x is going to be a function of x. But again, we don't want to bring in any new variables here, so this is definitely going to look weird. We'll say x is also a function of x, and this will be functional notation. We are not multiplying here. We do need for these innermost functions to be functions of x, basically because we are differentiating with respect to x and trying to find a formula for this. This is actually going to help us out in our custom chain rule tree diagram, where we start at the top with cap f, and we say that f is a function of x and y, where x is a function of x and y is a function of x. So ultimately, f depends only on this one variable, x, which means that we can calculate a straight d derivative df dx. This tree diagram is going to help us to determine our custom chain rule. So starting at the top with cap f, we're going to go down the x branch, which is partial f respect x, times, continuing down the x branch, this is a straight d derivative dx dx, which is going to give us 1. Plus, back up to the top, we've got partial cap f respect y, times, from y to x, again, y depends only on x, so that's a straight d derivative of y with respect to x. So let's go back to the beginning, that we were actually looking at this unit circle equation, and we wanted to try to calculate dy dx using this new formula that can be scaled up to multiple variables. So we take this equation and set it equal to 0 to get our cap f function. And now let's differentiate both sides of this equation with respect to x. What we have over here on the left is our cap f function. So let's bring cap f over here just so it's easier to see what the partial of f with respect to x should be, because that's the first thing that we need to calculate. So partial f respect x is just going to be 2x. dx dx, that's just 1. Partial f respect y is going to be 2y. And then dy dx is the thing that we are trying to solve for. So the derivative of this left-hand side becomes partial f respect x, which is 2x, times dx dx, which again was just 1, plus partial f respect y, which is 2y, times dy dx, which is what we're trying to solve for. And what this is equal to, on the other side here, the derivative of 0 with respect to x is just 0. So now we just solve for dy dx, which means we'll subtract 2x from both sides. We get 2y times dy dx is equal to negative 2x. We divide both sides by 2y, and we get that dy dx is equal to negative x over y. And this is the same thing that we would have achieved if we had calculated this using the implicit differentiation method from Calc 1. So to summarize what we did to find a derivative for a two-dimensional plane curve where y is an implicitly defined function of x, essentially we got all the terms on one side, setting it equal to 0, and let the other side be equal to a three-dimensional surface. We differentiated both sides of this with respect to x using this chain rule, and the derivative of this left-hand side simplified down to being partial f respect x dx is just 1, plus partial f respect y dy dx, and this was the derivative of the left-hand side. The derivative of the right-hand side was 0. Then we solved for dy dx, and we got negative first partial with respect to x divided by first partial with respect to y. And if we use the subscript notation, it's a little bit cleaner. We'll say negative first partial of f with respect to x divided by first partial of f with respect to y. And this is actually a formula that we can use from this point forward to make our calculations a good bit easier. So let's now go back to the beginning and use this formula to see how much easier it would be to calculate dy dx. Well, we do need to determine this cap f function, and that's going to be determined by essentially getting all the terms on one side. We just subtract 1 from both sides, set it equal to 0, and when all of the terms are on one side, this is going to be our cap f function. So now we use our formula, and we calculate first partial of f with respect to x, which is 2x, first partial of f with respect to y, which is 2y, and then we take these in ratio to get dy dx. So we have dy dx is equal to negative, first partial with respect to x is in the top, first partial with respect to y is in the bottom, and we end up with negative x over y, which is the same thing that we had a minute ago. Again, this is a different way of calculating dy dx when y is an implicitly defined function of x, but when we do it like this, we're able to scale it up to have functions of several variables.